So yeah, you might have figured that I'm actually recording this audio whilst the Red Wings and the Canucks game is going on. Had to get a little bit of a break in there before we could fully dive into this commentary, because today we're talking about some updated Montreal Canadiens news, and oh yeah, look at that, P.S. Suter just scored, great. Vancouver's up 3-2, but either way, I wanted to wait until a certain time to make this video to go over the updates in regards to Canadiens roster moves. Well, it's been revealed. Rafael Harvey Pinard has cleared waivers and will stay with the Laval Rocket. And this is not surprising, not because the forward Rafael Harvey Pinard is a bad player or anything, or he's not worth getting claimed, but mostly because of his situation. He ended up breaking his leg in the summer and took an extended time off recovering from that process. Eventually, towards the end of November, he was good to go, and I say good to go, like not with the Montreal Canadiens, he was ready and able to skate and actually play. So he got sent down to Laval on a conditioning loan. He had 5 games. He only had 1 goal in those 5 games. Unfortunate production there for the former 14-goal scorer with the Montreal Canadiens. And because the Canadiens felt that Rafael Harvey Pinard needed a little bit more time, they were like, okay, we'll send you on waivers officially, so if you clear, you're able to stick around there with Laval, and you're not going to be constrained to the conditioning loan stipulations. So it would have been kind of a dick move if any other team went out there and said, oh, we're going to claim Rafael Harvey Pinard. No, you're not. There's no reason to do that. He needs more development time in the AHL just to get himself back up to speed. The guy broke his leg after all. It's really difficult to come back from that, especially when your next step is playing professional hockey. It's no wonder that Rafael Harvey Pinard ended up taking some extra time here. Ultimately, though, it does not matter how long it takes for Rafael Harvey Pinard to come back, as long as he's able to do so in the healthiest capacity possible. I think that is what's important here. Now, speaking about important Montreal stories, there is a game later today against the Boston Bruins, and this actually was pushed back. Or not really pushed back, but the thing is, the television programming said on the NHL website that you will watch this game at 3 p.m. Eastern, aka 12 p.m. PST, so it's going to be on actually in 40 minutes, but if you watch the program at 3 p.m. Eastern, you're not actually going to get the programming available to you. This is because the entire story of the game is more important than the game itself. We will be greeted with the Montreal-Boston Centennial Game pre-game celebrations, and the puck will actually drop at 4:15 Eastern Time to accommodate the pre-game ceremonies for the Bruins Centennial. This is all about the history, and there was actually a really cool video posted by the Boston Bruins social media earlier today on Twitter that goes over a soaring vision through the centuries worth of a rivalry between Boston and Montreal. Bobby Orr's in the video, which is amazing how they were able to do that. There are also a whole bunch of other legends in this as well, so gonna be a lot of festivities heading into today's Centennial game, and really when you think about it, Centennial, right? Like it was 100 years ago that these guys, or these teams, excuse me, started playing off against each other. That's crazy. Lots and lots of history there with the Montreal Canadiens and the Boston Bruins. But just keep that in the back of your minds. It's going to be a little bit of a later game, despite the fact that we had ourselves the 3 p.m. announcement for when the game was going to begin. Ultimately, though, that is indeed the story for today's game. However, because I don't want to necessarily take this video and make its lifespan only go on until the actual Habs game comes and goes, we're going to talk about trades, because we had ourselves also a segment made on the TSN broadcast from 2 days ago. Darren Dreger went out there and spoke about how the Habs GM Kent Hughes is listening to just about anything on the impending free agents of the team. Yeah, hard segue into trade talk, but we have ourselves also an article published by Elias Adam on HabsFanatics.com, which gives us the scoop here. Might not be the most appropriate time in the world as any, but still, I thought it was interesting to go out there and talk about Canadiens' trade ideas right before they play off one of the most important games they've had all century, I guess you could say. Not that the game is important to the standings, but just in terms of what this game means, you know? Boston-Montreal, Centennial Celebration. We're going over to the article because it says this: Christian Dvorak, David Savard, Yoel Armia, Jake Evans, they are all officially available for a trade. On TSN 690, Drager specifically highlights these players. Kent Hughes is listening to just about anything that would help the Canadiens. As we know, it's more about the future. You look at the players you mentioned and you think, how would they fit in long term? Then you balance that with what the market is presenting and what might be offered for one of those players, Drager says. Then, there is an entire conversation in this article as to whether or not trading Jake Evans would be a mistake, which is really interesting because it actually compares this Evans situation to Artturi Lehkonen from last time, which of course was a really big deal for a lot of Canadiens fans, especially who ended up watching Artturi Lehkonen lift the Stanley Cup with the Avalanche just a little bit later. There was a lot of success there. And ultimately, I don't really think that Canadiens fans are salty about it in particular. Like, I don't think anybody's thinking about the Artturi Lehkonen situation and being like, oh yeah, darn it, the Canadiens should have kept him and he should have been as good as he is in Colorado in Montreal because he would have been able to be a top 6 forward and everything. I don't necessarily think anybody's thinking that. I think it's more so just a mutual admiration for what it was that he brought to the Canadiens and then inevitably seeing him do what he's doing in Colorado. Jake Evans, could he do the same thing? Honestly, I think it's possible. We spoke about this a few videos ago, but he is a very solid bottom 6 penalty-killing guy who has some good speed. He's got mobility, he's got skill, he can do pretty much what you expect out of him and more. He can surprise you once in a while. So the idea of the Habs trading him being a mistake is intriguing to me, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments. How does that make you feel in regards to the Canadiens and their trade discussions? Everybody else, you can say, is a little bit easier to stomach. Dvorak, Savard, Armia. Maybe for me personally, I've always liked Yoel Armia, so I'm a bit biased, but all the other guys should be able to fetch some reasonable returns. Okay, Savard, I would say, maybe is the guy with the most value. Christian Dvorak, I think a lot of Canadiens fans have been watching this guy for years, and they understand the value that he brings to the team. It's not much. Ultimately, though, if he were to get traded, I'd be very surprised if a team offered up a significant haul in exchange for Christian Dvorak. Yoel Armia, honestly, I could see him getting a little bit more, but not by much, to be real. So, at the end of the day, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel about these Montreal Canadiens news and notes? Rafael Harvey Pinard has officially cleared waivers. Nobody took him, which is not surprising, I think, but it is par for the course. What are your thoughts on today's festivities against the Boston Bruins, and how do you feel about this trade update with the Montreal Canadiens? Everybody that is going to have their contracts expiring, seems like they're all going to be moved at some point in the next few weeks here heading into the trade deadline. So, thoughts in the comment section. I wanted to get this short Canadiens video out before the game began. Hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.